All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if everyone would please take their seat. So welcome everybody, and thank you all so much for being here to launch our new Pennsylvania and New Jersey state chapter. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nader Hassanali. I'm the National Organizing Director for Impact. And I'm going to start off by introducing someone formally, someone who you all already know because she put together the majority of this amazing event, and she's the one emailing you all the time. But she's someone who we hired earlier this year and has really hit the ground running and built a really strong foundation for this state chapter already. So I'm really proud to formally introduce our new Pennsylvania and New Jersey State Chapter Director, Sarah Lynn.
Since moving to Pennsylvania, and while our work centers and uplifts South Asian communities, there's ample space for us to partner with API communities and groups, and all to say that for every person in this room, whether you are South Asian or an ally, there's a place for you in our organizing, in the infrastructure that we are building here. And so I'm especially excited about this chapter because I was born and raised in New Jersey, in Marlborough, New Jersey, in Monmouth County. I went to school, undergrad at Rutgers University in New Brunswick and Edison, worked in Jersey City, and then most recently on the Pennsylvania side was the Asian American Pacific Islander Director for our Pennsylvania Democratic Party's coordinated campaign for the 2022 elections, and most recently served on Governor Shapiro's transition team as well before coming over here to Impact. And so both Pennsylvania and New Jersey have a very special place in my heart. We're very excited to host this launch today. We're so glad to see so many familiar faces joining us from across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and beyond. We are excited to celebrate all that our communities have accomplished and share our vision for how we can partner, how we can organize, and how we can build power together in the weeks and months ahead.
So to start, I just want to dole out a few thank yous. Thank you to the Impact staff who's here, who came from across the country to help. You'll see them with purple shirts around helping them. Feel free to ask them any questions. Thank you to the Yards Brewing team for putting this on. This space is great. I want to have a special acknowledgement for our co-founder and board member, Deepak Raj, who's here at the front row. Someone whose vision, we wouldn't have the time to have another vision. I'd also like to acknowledge the founding donors and members for the state chapter. We have Arthi and Salas here today. And then Gaurav and Varghese who couldn't make it, along with our other donors as well.
We're also so grateful to have elected officials from across Pennsylvania and New Jersey who have joined us from near and far. If you are an elected official at any level of government in any capacity, if you can just raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you and thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We are also very excited to be welcoming Assemblywoman Jaffer, Representative Khan, Senator Nikhil Sawal, who will all be hearing from, and Congressman Dwight Evans, who will be speaking in just a moment. We also have incredible candidates running for public office, running for seats at all levels of government. And so if you are a candidate for elected office, if you could raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you as well. Wonderful. And so great to see folks running for office, elected officials, almost at every single table here. We also have representatives from Governor Shapiro's cabinet. We'll have Secretary Akbar Hussain joining us. We have from Governor Murphy's office, Parimol Garg, who is here. Raj Bath from Senator Fetterman's office. Laura Restrepo, who is here in the back. From the New Jersey Democratic Party, we have Kim Badger here as well. If we can just give a warm welcome to all of the folks joining us. And so thank you so much for being here and for lifting up South Asian communities day in and day out in your work. And without further ado, I'd love to just welcome up Congressman Dwight Evans, who represents District in the House of Representatives. We'd love to have him just give a quick welcome to our group here today. Thank you so much, Congressman Evans.
Let's give Sarah a hand. I've known Sarah for a little while. She is relentless and she doesn't give up, believe me. She's a true organizer, so you couldn't have a better person. I want to congratulate March for this opening that you have here today. And bringing together Pennsylvania and New Jersey is extremely important because when we think about the future and where we are, it is people working together. That's how we make change, by people functioning together. I'm happy to be a part of this process and this march and being here for the first kickoff here on April the 1st. It's rather significant to be here. And I'm saying to all of you that we have some challenges toward the future, challenges on all fronts when you think about it. But it will only be unless everybody organizes and not take anything for granted. We cannot afford to leave anybody from not being involved. So that's why I said I just wanted to stop by. And I enjoyed the food that was made there. I had a good time there. But it's really my pleasure to be here and just to add my voice to this kickoff. Again, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. We're going to start off our program today by getting a special welcome message from someone who's been an ally to our organization, been to many events. She's been an advocate for our community in Congress for many years, so I will let her do the talking.
I'm Congresswoman Camilla Jayapal, and I'd like to welcome you to the Indian American Impact Pennsylvania and New Jersey launch. I wish I could be there in person to celebrate the launch of this new chapter with all of you, but I wanted to send my warmest greetings and congratulations to everyone as you gather with volunteers, with community leaders, elected leaders across Pennsylvania and New Jersey, advocates, allies, and so many more. It was my great pleasure to have spoken at the historic South Asian Women Get Out the Vote event in Philadelphia last November, as well as the South Asians GOTV event in Atlanta in December for the Senate runoff. And every time I've witnessed Impact convening some of the most energetic volunteers to knock on doors and encourage our South Asian neighbors in key battleground states to get out and vote in our elections. And I've seen firsthand Impact's commitment to building political power for South Asians and elevating the voices of historically excluded communities. I've seen how Impact partners with other organizations and works tirelessly to ensure that our communities are not only enfranchised, but also mobilized to make the maximum impact at the ballot box. The work that you do is critical, and I am so excited to hear that Impact's state chapter program is growing. We need to keep organizing, building infrastructure, and expanding our partnerships on the ground to build on this momentum. And I'm very heartened to hear that this is exactly what the new Pennsylvania, New Jersey chapter will do. I cannot wait to see all that you build and accomplish in the coming months and years, and I look forward to gathering with you in person again very soon. Congratulations on this historic launch, and thank you for allowing me to welcome you all virtually to this great event.
Thank you to the conversation and thank you to Congressman Evans so much for joining us. I know that many of you might be familiar with Impact from the past couple of years, the events that we've done. You might be new to Impact. So I want to take a minute to describe a little bit about the history of the organization to give you context for why we're starting this state chapter. So in 2016, Impact was founded. As I mentioned, Deepak Raj, one of our co-founders, is here today. Deepak and Raj Goyal founded this organization because they noticed that there wasn't enough representation in elected office. And what that meant is our voices weren't being heard when decisions were being made. So they decided to start Impact to support and find candidates to be able to build political power within our system and give us a voice on all levels of government. So in 2017, Impact endorsed its first slate of candidates and the journey began. As we went through one election cycle and we learned more about supporting candidates, we also learned about how important it was for candidates to support each other and to be able to build a network between all the different South Asian electeds and leaders across the country. So in 2018, we held our first inaugural Impact Summit, which brought together 200 leaders from across the country. Our summit this year is June 6th in Washington, D.C. You'll hear more about it. I hope to see everyone here. I'll remember all your faces. But the summit in 2018 was headlined by then Senator, now Vice President, Kamala Harris. And she spoke about the importance of representation and the importance of building community. And I think it was palpable to the people that were there that no one realized there were so many brown people in politics, which is important. So from there, the organization grew. In 2020, in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime, Impact answered by investing in partner groups on the ground and investing directly in voter engagement. So building on supporting candidates, also engaging with voters directly on the ground. And then from there, we grew further into all that we were able to accomplish last year in 2022. In 2022, we endorsed the most candidates we've ever endorsed, 41 candidates, 28 of which were elected to office. We held our summit in May during AAPI Heritage Month, and we had over 300 leaders and elected officials join us for that. We held two major GOT events, as Congressman Jayapal mentioned, one right here in Philadelphia, one in Georgia with our partner organizations. We worked on legislation that protects South Asian dreamers who often get lost in the immigration system, and we worked with Congresswoman Jayapal on the South Asian Heart Health Act to get it passed through the House. We also used WhatsApp, and we launched programs to fight mis and disinformation on WhatsApp and to reach out to voters directly. And then finally, we launched our first state chapter, which was in Texas, and started building a foundation in a state that has one of the largest South Asian populations in the country. All of that to say that as Impact has grown, the mission has grown. We went from an organization that was looking to support candidates and elect more South Asians to being an organization that is building civic engagement into our South Asian American culture. So if you take anything away from that little history lesson, take away that piece. Just to give you a little bit of idea of some of the numbers, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a chemical engineer, actually by education. In 2016, when Impact was founded, there were around 60 South Asian elected officials across the country, about 10 state legislators. In 2022, there were over 200 South Asians elected across the country and 43 state legislators. That's exponential growth over the past 7 years. And we know that's so important because, as we know, much of the battles being fought for all of the issues that we care about are being fought on the state level. State legislators are fighting for things like women's reproductive rights, gun safety, and school safety. And that's why I'm so honored to be able to talk and introduce the next few speakers that we have, who are state legislators, one from New Jersey and one from Pennsylvania. They're historic candidates in their elections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce both of them first, and then I'll have them come up and speak one at a time. We have Assemblywoman Sadaf Jaffer, who is the first Muslim woman elected as a mayor in New Jersey, and first Muslim woman elected to the New Jersey Assembly. And then we have Senator Nikhil Sawal, who is the first ever South Asian elected to the Pennsylvania State Legislature, and has already passed some consequential legislation in his first term, and I'll let him explain that. So first, I'll invite up Assemblywoman Jaffer.
I'm an Assemblywoman representing the 16th Legislative District in New Jersey. For those of you who are wondering where that is, if you know Princeton, that's probably the most famous town there, also Montgomery, where I served as mayor, so that's the area that I represent. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful celebration and kickoff event. As one of the first 3 Asian American women in New Jersey's state legislature, I'm so proud to advocate for the needs of our community in New Jersey. The infrastructure that Impact has built will help generations of South Asian public servants to grow and thrive. I first attended an Impact conference or summit when I was mayor of Montgomery Township, and at that time I was the first South Asian woman to serve as a mayor in New Jersey. And as we heard, that community was slowly building, and so it was great to meet with electeds and advocates and people who were working in government from throughout the country. And then when I decided to run for state legislature, I was really proud to get Impact's endorsement, and thankfully I did win that election, so Impact must be the lucky charm. And then last year, I was so proud to serve on a panel with other leaders, especially in the Biden-Harris administration. And all I can think of is how far we've come, and it's in no small part to the amazing work that Impact has done. In my time in the New Jersey Assembly, I've worked on legislation to provide mental health resources in colleges, as well as K-12 schools, to invest in and secure women's health, including reproductive rights, maternal health care, and to address period poverty, in addition to promoting language access and inclusive education. So that just goes to show the significance of state legislators, as we've been hearing. I'm looking forward to continuing to fight for these issues and many more with all of you. I'm so excited to have Impact's chapter here that will advocate for the issues that the South Asian community is interested in and invest in the growth of the next generation of elected officials, campaign staff, advocates, and community leaders. We have a significant South Asian population in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and this community has its roots for hundreds of years. So it's not that we're a new community here, but it's about time that we have our seats of power and influence at the table. Thank you, and I look forward to the growth and contribution of Impact here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Thanks again.
Now I'd like to invite up Senator Sewell.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nikhil Saval. It's such an honor to be here in just this wonderful, warm, diverse room. So I am the senator representing the 1st Senate District, which we are in right now. We are in the Pennsylvania Senate. It's all of Center City, all of South Philadelphia, east of Broad Street, runs up along the river to Fishtown, Kensington, Port Richmond, and southwest to the Philadelphia airport, so parts of Eastwick as well. So it's just the geographic, commercial, political heart of the city and in many ways the state. It is one of the most diverse districts in the state and in many ways the country, multiple language spoken here, one of the most Asian American districts in the state. And as Tahir mentioned, I was the first South Asian elected to the Pennsylvania State Legislature. I will say it's an interesting thing to have that recognition, because it's not something, and I believe I'm speaking for myself and maybe for others too, that you actually necessarily want. I don't know that I wanted to be the first South Asian to the state legislature. You want to be in rooms like this. You want to be in diverse communities. You want to be among Asian Americans in a legislature that really looks like and represents the people of that state. And so I'm very proud that I now represent the South Asian community, not just myself, but 2 other elected officials, one of whom was here today, Representative Tariq Khan, who represents parts of Northwest Philadelphia, and Representative Arvind Venkat, who represents parts of Allegheny County. And I just want to give them both a hand for everything that they've done. So, in the state legislature, I've been there for 2 years. There are many things to say about Harrisburg. For those of you from Pennsylvania, most of the things that people tend to say about Harrisburg are not very admiring. Some of them are 4-letter words. I just am here to say that, while some of that has merit, it is a place where work can get done. A lot of what I focused on in my time in the legislature has been affordable housing. We know that housing is a crisis that does not obey color, does not obey political geography, does not obey natural geography. It is endemic that affordable housing crisis is endemic across our Commonwealth, certainly true in New Jersey, across the country. And so, utilizing that, I've been able to support and adopt and get passed legislation, including last year, the largest new affordable housing bill in recent Pennsylvania history, known as the Whole Home Repairs Program, which we were able to get passed with bipartisan support last year, and money is money is soon going to be going directly to homeowners and to tenants in order to make basic repairs to their homes, in order to fund workforce development so more people can get into a growing industry. And this is a bill that is being adopted around the country. Maryland just introduced a whole home repairs bill. A number of legislatures have reached out to us about adopting a similar program. And one thing I want to say is, someone was asking me at this very event, what does impact do for you? What does it do in terms of your work in the legislature? What does it do in terms of what you can do politically? And it's in a room like this that you start to recognize that the work that impact does is in some ways immeasurable, but I think I can boil it down to a couple things. One is that it allows you to take bolder stances. Now, impact is, in the community organizing tradition that I come out of, people describe power as organizing people and organizing money. And impact does both of those things. We actually need those things in the political system that we have. We need to organize people and we need to organize money. And those are the things that allow you they don't just hold you accountable. They allow you to do more. They allow you to be creative. You have a constituency that you're responsive to that includes the broad South Asian community in your state, in other states, in the country, that is, that impact is very actively organizing and bringing into politics. And that allows you to be freer and to do things like pass major affordable housing legislation and more. So that is critical. And then the other thing I would say is it brings me into community with all of you and many more people that I have yet to meet. I'm so glad to meet Assembly Member Sadaf, to meet so many commissioners, township supervisors, council people here today that, again, I didn't want to be alone in the state legislature. I want it to be a recognition that's much less observed than it is today. And I hope that's true for everyone here. And Impact is doing that work, doing it on a state level, crossing political boundaries, uniting Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and more is just so critical to growing that sense of recognition that I'm able to feel in this room, and I think that we all deserve as South Asians and as Americans. So thank you, Impact, for doing the work that you do. Thank you for supporting the work that I've done and that we've been able to do, and I look forward to doing more together. Thank you.
Thank you to Senator Samal and to Assemblywoman Jaffer for speaking with us today and for sharing your remarks. We're very grateful to have all of you and so many more South Asian electeds leading our two states. We'll turn to sharing more about our Impact PA and NJ chapter apparatus in just a moment. We want to take a second, again, just to acknowledge all of the other elected officials in this room at every level, as well as their staffers. So if that's one of you, if you would just raise your hand again so that we can thank you and acknowledge all the hard work that you all are doing every day. We know that it's not easy to run for office, and we're so grateful for all of the candidates in this room who are running. We're doing such incredible work on the ground. We know that it's not easy to serve in office either. That's why we're so committed to supporting candidates, investing in all of you for as in your runs for public office. We thank you for your leadership at all levels of government. So at this moment, I'd love to turn to talking a little bit more about our state chapter program. I'll do a brief overview for our purposes and our time today, and then would love to connect with you all afterward with questions, with thoughts, and ideas. But within our organizing and political department, our state chapter program focuses on building political power for the South Asian community. We do that in 4 primary ways. The first one is working with partners on the ground to develop and deploy unique methods of outreach to mobilize South Asian voters. When we say that, what we mean is we want to work in coalition to amplify our partners and their work. For example, this past election cycle, Impact partnered with AC Blue. I know we have a number of AC Blue Pennsylvania members in this room today. Thank you all for all of your work. We partnered weekly on culturally and linguistically specific phone banks targeting South Asian voters, and we're excited to continue partnerships like this, where we can complement rather than duplicate existing efforts on the ground. Second, we help leaders strategize and organize their communities to increase South Asian voter turnout. One example that we've already been discussing with New Jersey caucus leaders is doing South Asian voter mapping using an internal model in VAN, where we go house district by house district in each state to identify how many South Asians are in each state house district, identifying voter registration histories, age distributions, voting patterns, opportunities for micro-targeting, and therefore equipping our leaders to best organize their communities. Third, we support candidates and we provide community networks to increase South Asian representation at large. So here, our example is our nascent candidate mentorship program, Daisy's Lead, where we'll be pairing elected mentors, South Asian elected mentors with potential candidates. So for all the elected officials in this room, we'd love to invite you to be a part of this program. But we'll be assembling 3 different cohorts to provide a space where candidates can receive culturally specific advising and mentorship. We know and have seen that often a barrier to running for office is not having a concrete support system or structure, or not even knowing what to run for. So we want to create spaces within our chapters that encourage people to lead and then provide them with the network that they need to succeed. And finally, number 4, convening communities to make electoral or legislative impacts that drive South Asian civic engagement. So here we have an example from Texas. We have Rich, our Texas State Director, in the back, who's joined us from Texas. Rich recently rallied our community in Texas to push back against SB 147 that would have banned Asian and other immigrants from buying real estate in Texas. And so Rich and his leaders in Texas, they went down to the Texas State House together to advocate against the bill, make their voices heard, and ultimately this bill and its contents and its scope were ultimately changed. And so this is an example, right, of what happens when our communities come together to organize, to make our voices heard, and to actually have an impact at the electoral and on a legislative level as well. So we're excited to work with our state chapters as Texas as an example, and to duplicate that kind of impact, that kind of organizing, that kind of work here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey as well. Next slide, please. Great. So in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, so moving to our geographic focus, we're really excited to have this opportunity to grow in these 2 states. South Asians comprise one of the fastest growing ethnic groups and voting blocks in both states. Presently, Pennsylvania is home to over 600,000 Asian Americans, with South Asians comprising the largest subgroup at over 150,000 residents. With over 61,000 eligible Indian American voters alone, the South Asian community can make the margin of victory in a state that went to Donald Trump, who is very much still on our minds, by just 44,292 votes in 2016. So if you are from Pennsylvania, I'd just love to see who here lives in Pennsylvania currently. Love to get a quick show. Awesome. We also, in New Jersey, have seen that New Jersey is home to over 1 million Asians, over 480,000 of whom are South Asian. Incidentally, that makes up nearly 5% of New Jersey's total population, making New Jersey the state with the highest share of South Asians to total population. South Asian voters have been key in New Jersey elections, including in 2021, when Governor Murphy was reelected by less than 85,000 votes total. And so although there are actually more South Asian elected officials in New Jersey than any other state, which is a huge cause for celebration, we still have much room for growth and increasing representation in both states. We know that each state has its unique political landscape, ethnic makeup, other dynamics. We're excited to have this cross-state collaboration where we can mutually strengthen our community's political power in these pivotal states where we know our voices have and can continue to make a tangible impact. Next slide, please. So in Impact, PA and NJ, in our chapter specifically, we have key focus areas that mirror these objectives. We have the 4 listed up here on the slide. We'll go into what each of those looks like in just a moment, but with the formal launch of this chapter, we're very excited to expand our programming in each of these areas that enables South Asians to achieve historic turnout in these critical states. We're really excited to launch at this point in time to meet this key moment ahead of critical elections and on the horizon and engage more South Asian voters than ever before. Next slide, please. So what does this look like on the ground, right? What does this look like for each and every person in this room, whether you're joining us from Pennsylvania, from New Jersey, we know there's some folks joining us from out of state as well who are excited to organize with us and to be a part of this movement. And so our chapter is broken down into 2 regions for in-person gatherings and cross-collaboration opportunities. The first is our New Jersey and Eastern PA region, and the second is our Central and Western PA region. So we have a quick sampling here. I won't go into each of them, but of the different types of programs and events that we are excited to assemble in these regions. Under outreach, we have relational organizing trainings, DC's Vote community booths, where we can have increased presence and visibility in communities and local neighborhoods, providing folks with voter education info year-round, right where they're at. We have voter mobilization opportunities, candidate recruitment programs, campus partnership events to get out the vote, as you heard Tahir speak about just earlier. Under policy and community engagement, we have our national summit, which we'll share about in just a moment as well. Joint advocacy actions that we can be taking, as well as our WhatsApp tip line. We've been experimenting with WhatsApp as a culturally specific digital organizing tool for South Asian Americans, and we're very excited to continue and expand that program with this new state chapter as well. And finally, under fundraising and membership, we support our candidates who are running for office. We're also excited to build a bench for folks to join chapter membership, to then get into leadership and have advisory board opportunities, and then become future staff, future organizers, future candidates, leaders in this electoral and civic space. And so we're excited to co-host and co-promote events like this with our partner organizations. We know there are many represented in this room today, but most of all, we want this chapter to be a space that's responsive to what you all want to see, what you're noticing in your local neighborhoods, what you're excited about doing in this chapter. And so we are excited to meet you right where you're at, whether you're a seasoned political organizer or joining us for the first time. There is a place for you in this chapter, and we're very excited to offer that to you today. And so, next slide, please. So the million-dollar question, right, is how you all can get involved, how we can all be a part of this movement together. So for every person in this room, we want you to be a part of our chapter. Again, as we said before, we are so excited to have both South Asian folks in the room as well as allies, and each of you has a role to play in our organizing and in our infrastructure. So I'll ask you actually to pull out your phones. So if you have your phone, if you can pull it out, and you'll see this QR code on the screen. It is also on your tables, and it's also listed on the coasters on your tables. So I'll invite you all to take just 5 seconds to scan that QR code. And once you've done it, if you can just show me your phone so we can see. Wonderful. I see Laura in the back from Senator Fetterman's office. I see Noah here at this table to scan the QR code. See a couple more from Daisy Cleo, from New Jersey in the back. Corinne, wonderful. So what I'll ask you to do, you'll see the first link on the link tree is the link to join our PA and NJ WhatsApp group. This is how you can stay in touch with us. You'll get live updates from the chapter as well. You'll notice in the group description that we have a PA and NJ interest form that you can use to fill out to tell us more about yourself. You can also share with others to invite them to join the group as well. And while you're on WhatsApp, we want to do a quick kind of side plug for another WhatsApp opportunity. Speaking of digital organizing, speaking of keeping our community engaged, I'd love to have my amazing colleague Ashika to share a little bit more about another WhatsApp opportunity that you can take today.
Thanks, Sarah. As you all have your phones out, we're going to have you scan this QR code, which will take you directly to our WhatsApp tip line, which is a part of our larger combating misinformation program that we're using to just basically curb misinformation in South Asian American communities. If you want to scan it, it'll take you directly to our tip line to send us a message as well as save the number. As you know, WhatsApp is a viral platform for misinformation in several communities, and we're hoping that this will help us reach our communities at a grassroots level and really connect with folks and have them ask us questions and get articles directly from dcfacts.org, which is our fact-checking website for South Asian Americans. So you can learn more about this program at dcfacts.org. or like ask me any questions afterwards as well. And then I'm gonna pass it over to Rich. Oh, okay, never mind.
We will pass it over to Rich in just a moment, actually. So before we talk a little bit more about other opportunities to get involved, I do want to share. So if you go back to the QR code, you'll see the next link on your screens there. We have an invite to our April Open Strategy meeting on Thursday, April 27th at 7 p.m. So this will be a great event to invite friends to, especially folks who weren't able to join us today. We have essentially we'll be doing a deeper dive into our state chapter strategy and programming roadmap for the upcoming months. We'll get a chance to brainstorm and hear your ideas as well. We'll share more opportunities in May to actually table at API Heritage Month events across Pennsylvania and New Jersey. One event that Representative Tara Khan, who I know some of you all met before the program, just flagged, as well as Senator Nikhil Saval, Representative Venkat, and Representative Patty Kim in the PA State Legislature, will actually be gathering at the Capitol on May 1st at the start of API Heritage Month to launch the new PA Legislative API Caucus. In New Jersey, you'll also have a number of events for folks to get involved, to table, to make sure that folks see that this chapter is here, we're active, we're ready to organize, and so we're excited to have that opportunity for you all to be involved in the month of May as well. And then on January 6th, we are not associated with January 6th. On June 6th, we will have a chance to gather again in DC for our national summit. And I'll invite up my colleague Ashika again to share some more about our national summit.
Yeah, so our national summit is on June 6th, as Sarah and Tapper mentioned, at the Georgetown Marriott. I thought there was going to be a QR code, but I guess not.
It's Linktree.
Oh, okay, so there's a QR code on the Linktree, which you can find through like any of the QR codes that you see in front of you. But this is basically our annual convening of South Asian Americans to discuss like the social and political issues affecting our communities, as well as how we can organize our communities forward. This year's theme is the next 100 years, which is based off the Supreme Court Bucket Singh Thin case, which you didn't know, affected South Asian citizenship in America. So yeah, this conference will be great. We're bringing together hundreds of South Asian Americans from across the country, as well as policymakers, activists, and organizations to just discuss what we're going to be doing to bring our communities together. And I'll pass it to Rish right now. Okay.
Thank you, Ashika. And thank you, everybody, again, for coming out today. We'll talk about something very important, but very briefly. You heard about all the great work that we do at Impact. We've helped a record number of South Asians get elected to office. We've turned out our community at numbers never seen before. And we advocate at the state, federal, and local level for policies that benefit not just our community, but everybody. And so, with that in mind, this work, plain and simple, takes money. And we have done an incredible job through work with individuals, through foundations, through all sorts of entities to reach our budget. And I know particularly here today, we had a goal, and we're so close to it. We have $2,400 left to raise. So whatever you can put in, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $10 a month, $50 a month, $100 today, it goes a long way to sustaining this chapter and making sure the work that we do here keeps going for the future. So if you do want to contribute today, there are QR codes. Just lift your drink up. There's a QR code on your coaster, which works out nicely. If you want to use your credit card, Liz, raise your hand. It's right here. Liz can process that over here. You can chat with me too if you have other ideas on how you want to contribute financially, host an event, anything like that. But like I said, this work, there's no organization that does the work that we do. And it's something truly special. And you can talk to folks who are out here, been part of Impact for a long time. Yeah, that's it. So again, like I said, if you want to contribute, once again, Liz is over there for credit cards, QR codes. Just use your phone, scan it, very simple. And again, talk to me, talk to Brian, talk to Sarah. We're happy to help answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rish. And so if you click through the rest of the links listed on the link tree there are a lot more opportunities to get involved. As we mentioned, our DC's Lead Candidate Mentorship Program, there's an interest form there where you can fill that out and be paired as our program launches to South Asian elected mentors. I also want to, speaking of candidates, want to just acknowledge and Impact, as we City Council at large. We also have Neil Makisha, who is running for Montgomery County Commissioner. And so we're very grateful that they've joined us in the room today. We also have a number of candidates who we've been talking to, who are excited to announce another round of endorsements in a couple of weeks. And I know there are other candidates in this room who have raised their hands, and so we really encourage you all to connect afterwards to learn from all the amazing people that we have in this room and the great work that they're doing, leading our communities, showing us what's possible, and inviting us all to be a part of that process. And so before we close, I just want to say thank you again, as we said at the beginning, to all of our partner organizations. We're so grateful for grassroots groups like AC Blue, for groups like AKIPA who are here, our government officials from offices across Pennsylvania and New Jersey who have graciously joined us. And we're very excited to continue connecting with all of you in just a moment. We will take a group photo. We will kind of organize that in just a second. And our staff will be around the room to answer any questions that you have, to chat with you, to hear the ideas that you have. And as just a small token of your appreciation for joining us, as you have been saying, we have these coasters. You may have received one as you walked in as well with a tea bag in it. The special thing with the coasters is that they're made of handmade seed paper. So quite literally, if you grow, after you use the coaster today for your drink, you can follow the directions there. You can grow the coaster in water and soil, and it will actually grow into wildflowers. So it's not just a coaster, but and in doing so, we're inviting you all to grow with us, metaphorically, as a chapter, as Impact grows, as our organizing and PI and NJ grow. We're excited to invite you to be a part of that process. And so as the flowers grow, I know we have a number of children in the room as well who will be taking a part in that. We'd love for you to send photos to us, tag us, so that we can keep being a part of this process together. And so with that, we'd just love to invite folks to actually physically come up if you are able to this space here. We'll gather under this screen and take one group photo together, and then we'll have everyone continue to mingle